Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a very special occasion here at the King Stadium at Franklin's Gardens. At a time when rugby, especially English club rugby, is in desperate need of some positivity, the Barbarians have stepped in, haven't they? Not only positive, as we all know, in their style of play, but also what they stand for, the people, the enjoyment, playing rugby for the reasons we all fell in love with the game, and the camaraderie, a reminder of the true essence of rugby, and a well-needed and timely reminder as well. For the Saints, with blanks in the fixture card, left by Wasps and Worcester, the club jumped at this unique opportunity, and with nearly a full and jumping Franklin's Gardens, certainly the fans can't wait to be part of this small slice of this club's rich history. The players, no doubt, in a similar boat and delighted to be joined by club centurion Ethan Waller. Where are the excitement levels right now in the black, green and gold camp, Ethan?
I'd say they're very, very high. Like you've already alluded to, it's a pretty unique opportunity. You don't see the Barbarians at club rugby very often, and we've been fortunate to see them at a couple of clubs already. So we've spoken this week about sort of going through our game plan and ensuring we're carrying on what we've built on at the start of the season. But so excited to go out against the Barbars and, you know, some old faces as well.
Yeah, players returning in the black and white for the Barbarians. Players like Danny Cipriani playing for the Barbarians, but it's an important game for Northampton as well. But just wanted to focus, just before we look at the teams, on the style of play. It's going to be an exciting game, isn't it?
There's no two ways about that. We're very similar in the style of rugby we play. The Barbarians clearly like to throw the ball around, but they're a bit more focused on, you know, getting that camaraderie off field. But the way that Saints play is similar. We like to move the ball, but probably a certain degree more structured. So we'll see which one of those comes to fruition today, but it's going to be attack versus attack, and hopefully we'll see a real high scorer.
Preparation this week would have been very, very different for both sides. Well, let's have a look at the runners and riders then for this afternoon's clash, starting with Northampton. And certainly no holding back from Phil Dowson, the director of rugby, with a huge run up to Christmas ahead. Finn Smith returns to lead the backline. The 20-year-old has been in sparkling form of late since his arrival last month. Rory Hutchinson and Matt Proctor are outside in the midfield. Unchanged back three from the cup win over Newcastle as well. Alex Waller, Mike Hayward and Paul Hull, all bastions of the club combined in the front row. Lewis Ludlam returns from injury to lead the side. From the open side, he's joined by Angus Scott-Young, who's really establishing himself in that back row. And number 8, Guano Augustus. Who catches your eye in that Northampton lineup, Ethan?
Well, I think it's probably Finn Smith, to be honest. I played with Finn at Worcester, and since he's arrived here, he's been outstanding. I think he fits into the Saints style of play extremely well, and the way he leads a backline for such a young age is phenomenal. I'll never say it to his face because I don't want to give him too much credit, but he's been an outstanding asset joining the club.
Well, in the famous black and white jerseys then, some of our favourite rugby memories are from the Barbarians, aren't they?
They certainly are. I mean, I've seen quite a few of those Barbars games that have been hugely exciting, and the Quins game the other week, where it was really at the wire, but then the wheels sort of fell off towards the end. I imagine the Barbarians will have learned from that after winning against Bath, so hopefully today we see a bit more of a well-rounded side. It
was where to start with the litany of great names. It's fairly obvious from where I'm sat. Tom Wood, a legend in the true sense of the word for this club. He didn't get the send-off that he wanted in his boots. Today he gets the chance to say farewell to the Franklin's faithful. In front of him, Elliot Stook and Graham Kitchener, formerly of Wasps and Worcester respectively. They pack down in the row. And in the backs, the eye is drawn to Danny Cipriani, whose black and white shirt probably fits a little bit better than all of the rest. He has plenty of toys outside him. Playmaker Owen Williams, Marlin Yard, of course, Zach Kibarigi with lightning feet on the wings, and Luther Burrell, another former Saint, in line for another memorable day.
It's great to see them both back here. Like you said, Tom Wood in particular was a huge legend as he walks out now with his family and a chance to say goodbye. Luther in tow as well. They gave a huge amount to the club, and to get them back here to have a proper farewell is massive, and it's really good to see.
servants of the club. And here come the Northampton Saints. Lewis Ludlam leading the side out. Certainly a party atmosphere around Franklin's Gardens, but for your Northampton side, it's a big old run up to Christmas. A couple of big old European games in there. La Rochelle, the champions, Munster, Gloucester, of course, next week. Yes, there'll be some enjoyment out there, but there's a purpose to this as well.
Yeah, hugely. And that's sort of at least what I said to you earlier about us not really deviating from the way we want to play. Realistically, this is a good build-up into that big run of games. So we want to make sure that the way we play reflects what we're going to be doing for the next few months.
Well, as professional as the Barbars have been of late, a 4-match autumn series for the Invitational side. As I say, it's about as professional as they get. There's New Zealand and Harlequins and Bath, of course, finishing up with Northampton here today as Luther Burrell rejoins us, just taking the moment just to get the final preparations in place. Danny Cipriani about to get us underway. The first time the most famous of rugby clubs, the Barbarians, have met Northampton Saints, and we're underway here at Franklin's Gardens, and immediately the Barbarians into their stride from the knock-on at the restart.
Not the best way you want to start the game, but when you put a high ball on someone like Mike Hayward, who's not the most height gifted, it's always going to be a bit of a struggle.
Vertically challenged.
That's the word I was looking for.
Big hit in the midfield. Northampton are trying to say to the Barbarians, they mean business here. Good double tackle from Ludlam and Scott Young. Speaking this week about his dad playing against the Barbarians. He said he remembers having a Barbarian shirt in the closet at home. What a kick that is.
Huge.
Wow. Quite made touch though. Barbarians, we know, no kicking allowed. Perfect for front rowers like you and I.
Absolutely. It was a great chase though by Cornel Skosen and James Ram, and they always say, you know, a good kick's only as good as its chase, and when you've got a weapon on the bottom of your right foot like James Ram does, you've got to make sure you've got the chase to match it.
Australian under 20 international. A box kick to touch. It's like hen's
Unheard of in these kind of games.
Utterly unheard of from the Barbarians.
Maybe that's 4 weeks of a few good socials starting to take their toll.
What goes on certainly stays on. Ludlam has managed to just snaffle that line-out ball. Advantage to Northampton. Hick Elliott with a good tackle in there. New Zealand Māori representative. He's a tough, uncompromising customer, now playing his rugby in France, but we're playing advantage for the penalty, and Northampton going into the corner.
Yeah, it's a shame that lineup was lost. Good chance to get a starter play there and run through some of the stuff that Saints have been working on this week, but you know, a little bit closer, another opportunity, maybe something special coming out here, who knows.
Get a second bite of the cherry here, don't they, Northampton? First part done. Coming around this left-hand side, Northampton Barbarians are there though, stretching for that line. And we have our first try of the afternoon. And it was coming, wasn't it? Huge amounts of pressure from Northampton. Split off the side of the ruck. And it's Callum Brayley with the first score of the afternoon. First of many.
Yeah, stems from a great ball that. I think it was a great line out. The Saints got the go forward very quickly, and then when you get ruck ball that quick, you know, someone as dangerous as Cal Brayley, who loves sniping around those fringes, he's always going to make a bit of gain line. And that close to the line, you'd expect him to score.
Around those fringes, doesn't he, Callum Brayley? Bristol and Gloucester. Benetton, of course, the capped 15 times by Italy. Finn Smith already over 40 points in his Premiership career here at Franklin's Gardens. No trouble whatsoever. Northampton up to 7-0.
He can kick a ball, Kim Finn. He can regularly kick a ball. I think he's only missed one penalty, one shot at goal since he's been here, which is phenomenal. On Mikey Hayward again.
Tybee decides just to leave the ball away. He's catching up. Formerly of Worcester, of course, it's given those players an opportunity to pop the boots back on at a time when so much uncertainty around. Cipriani off that left peg without a club, Danny Cipriani, but today's match sort of perfect for a player of Danny Cipriani's quality.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously he's not played a lot of rugby this year, and I think coming into this environment, it almost gives you a nice, refreshing stint back at it. I think there's a lot of players there who may have become disillusioned with rugby, especially with the Worcester situation, and seeing out there and them enjoying themselves is brilliant to have a look at.
Beautifully worked down the back line for Northampton. And Hayward. What up? Paul Hill. There's continuity here from Northampton. Tom Collins. Ludlam. Very happy in the wide open spaces. Probably got away with the first one. So, certainly not the second one.
Yeah, the referee clearly wants to see some free-flowing rugby in a game like this, but there's only so much that you can let slide. And it's a great cheat line from Cal Brayley, though. You see him, the way he comes at that ball, he's ahead of it the whole time. Maybe just slightly overran it.
Nice, so that's the kind of play that Northampton want to put out this afternoon. Whatever's in front of them, they want to go through your patterns, don't you? Preparing for the next few games.
Yeah, hugely. I think the beauty of the way we play is that it lends itself to a game like this, but we're always looking for the space that the defences give us, and we back our skill set to sort of get to there, and that's just a prime example of it. One little error at the end means we don't complete, but good start.
The draw of the Barbarians, the players who want to get involved. Zach Kibarigi. Youngster Marlon Yard is sniffing around, but he's missed out this time. Two playmakers, haven't they? The Barbarians. Opportunity here. Oh, where's it going? Straight into the arms of the Barbarians. Mistake at the back. It was speculative, wasn't it? The chip down the wing. The Barbarians snapped on it, and here's a little special try celebration for you as well.
Speculative nudge, really well chased. I think Gaz Simpson, when he was at Worcester, scored an unthinkable amount of tries like that. He's so good at just reading a play and reading where a ball's going to go, and he's got the gas to get there as well. But that just sort of summarises the Barbarians, you know, making something out of essentially nothing. That came off the back of pretty much everyone 1 to 15 getting their hands on the ball and shifting it to the width.
And what a 15-metre pass of his right for Ben Morris, the blind side. Firing out wide. Cipriani wants to add 2 more points. A start as we expected, a try for both.
Yeah, I think so. I think the danger for Saints is that they get sucked into the way that Barbarians play. Yes, Saints like to move the ball, but you've got to be careful in how you do it. You've got to keep some of your structure. Otherwise, that's when things start to get loose and systems start to fall apart.
discipline. It's possibly a freedom the Barbarians are playing with, always play with. Certainly something that Cipriani has spoken about this week, the freedom just to express yourself a little bit more, take the shackles off, and that's why these players absolutely love playing for the Barbarians. There's the try scorer. Simpson, here's Ollie Robinson. You notice the Barbarians players in odd socks, as it were, not only through the team but themselves as well. Gives the players an opportunity just to give a nod to those clubs, those franchises, schools, colleges even, that have shaped their rugby career to where they are now. Ollie Robinson in the Moseley sock.
Actually played with Ollie at Moseley a long time ago now, I think coming on 10 years, but that's where he started his career, and he was phenomenal in that league, and now, you know, look at him turning up for the Barbarians.
Right idea from Cipriani. Just a little bit too much mustard on it. As Matt Proctor just reminded Danny Cipriani that he was there. Northampton get the line out and an opportunity just to get themselves out of their own half. Lockett, the line out win. Drive from the Barbarians. It's held up. Northampton taking it. Barbarians scrum.
Some great line-out defence and some great maul defence once it was on the floor. I think one of my favourite things about watching the Barbarians and knowing how it goes behind the scenes there is that it just highlights the simplicity of rugby. I think there's a lot of times where it gets overcomplicated in line-outs and scrums, but these guys, they're probably trained minimally. They've had a great bit of bonding off pitch, but on it, you know, everything that they do, you have a look at it, it's just beautifully simple. It's just executed to a really high standard, and they get an opportunity to express themselves when those opportunities arise. But it's one of the things I absolutely love about Barbars rugby.
And your email addresses?
Yeah, by all means, if you want to call me up, I'm available at all times.
Yeah, team runs in hotel car parks and in Hyde Park as well. It's all very, very unique. We love it for that. Cipriani. Burrell. Oh, he's straight through Luther Burrell. Wanted to give the pass, and he just couldn't get that right arm out in time. Here come the Barbarians again. Cipriani. Yard is missed out for Jonah Holmes. Now Ealing. Cipriani just giving the right options, giving the passes. That one's floated out. It's intercepted, but we will come back because we were playing advantage. The crowd certainly loved that moment. Luther Burrell smashing through the middle in a different colour.
Trademark Luther Burrell line, that. He's a big, big man, and when he's at full tilt, he's extremely hard to stop. But I think from a Saints point of view, there's a lot of opportunity in defence to get off the line. You can see that every time the Barbars get the ball, that first man's more or less pulling it out of the back each time. I don't think I've seen anyone really truck it up. So as a defence, watching that, you're thinking, let's get off the line, let's get in their faces, put pressure on these skills and make sure that they've got to be executed to the best of their ability. Otherwise, it's not working.
Time off for that. Substituted.
Callum Brayley. I think that's Callum Brayley's coming off of blood. I think in Newcastle last week he split his eye, and I think that's Alex Mitchell coming on for him there. I think he's just probably popped a stitch and needs to get that redone.
Where's this one bobbling around? Rather like their first try for the Barbarians. Goal line chopper, Alex Mitchell on, wearing 21. A couple of players will be without numbers for Northampton. That's a reasonable replacement.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be angry with it, would you, when on your pitch? I think Saints are blessed with a crop of extremely good nines. Obviously, you've got Cal Brayley, you've got Alex Mitchell there, but Tom James is fantastic nine as well, as is Jakey Garside, who's in the academy. So we're very lucky here at this club.
Here's the Barbarians number one, Gareth Simpson. Through the Worcester ranks. Might have been an easier time for him. Augustus is being penalised here.
Things you love to see.
McCallum with a cross-field kick pass from a loose head. He's a character, isn't he?
He's one of the best people I've ever had the pleasure of playing with and having a beer with, Murray. He joined Worcester early last year, but he's almost like a pantomime character in the energy that he has. He's just bouncing off the walls at all times. There's no one you'd rather go out and share a pint with. Worth his weight in gold, and it's a sizable amount of weight as well. So that sort of tells you everything you need to know about him as a man. Not a bad rugby player too. Could improve his kicking, admittedly.
Monday morning, kick practice with the front row.
Now, when you've got 21mm studs in, it's a game changer. Throws your balance all off.
Still be out Monday morning.
Very true.
Burrell. Trademark line. Barbarians pressing again here. Morris is waiting. Elliott, apologise for the language. Martin Yard. 1.5 forward. Under pressure here, Northampton.
I think it's as we said, getting sucked into their style of play, but also from a defensive point of view, you just don't know what they're going to bring. They're not a structured team. There's no real analysis you can do on them. They're going to play what they want to play, however they want to do it. So it's one of those things that's incredibly difficult to defend. You've just got to have a system and back it to the nines, because the moment you start going out trying to solve things individually, that's when this kind of team will pick off individuals and score some crackers, as we've seen.
Alex Mitchell just on for Callum Brayley. Get himself stitched up. Williams is just creeping offside there. Certainly put plenty of pressure on Northampton. Mitchell goes into touch. Many people wondering why he's not part of Eddie Jones's thinking at the moment.
Yes, I mean, it's a mystery. Alex has been phenomenal for us all year. He's one of the most dangerous nines around the edges of a ruck that you'll see. The man's sold an outrageous amount of dummies in his short career. So I don't know why he wouldn't be in that team. I think he'd be an asset.
And looks like Gary Neville, so he's got it all going
It's
for
a win-win. Or Mesut Ozil.
He's back from Qatar to play in this game. Alex Mitchell. Simpson and Cipriani Burrell this time. Way up to his near to meet him. Had to won the line-up, but it's back with the Barbarians. That's Hickory Elliott. Cipriani really flapped this time, and Morris gets a thump for his troubles as well. But here come the Barbarians again. Calling for it on this right-hand side. It's Jonah Holmes. Cipriani's just had a look up, and Marlin Yard comes round the corner. Good turnover, Northampton. Just isolated Marlin Yard. Not sure that was part of the plan, but really isn't that plan, is there, with the Barbarian? Just play what's in front. Jonah Holmes was looking for it, but that's good defensive work for Northampton after being breached.
It is, and I think you can see them starting to hit their strides now. I think they've noticed that this style of play does create a lot of isolated runners, and when you get those isolated runners, you've got some serious poachers in that Saints team, the likes of Angus Scott-Young, Lewis Ludlam, the old boy, and Alex Waller to an extent as well.
Off the top ball. Proctor to have a little play with. Brown is there. Sporting as many do. November Tash. Holmes has to go back. Tom Collins chases. No, the local lad. Work for Ben Morris. He's played most of his stride in the championship. Simpson. What's going on here? The second box kick to touch.
I'll be having words with Gareth. I know Gareth well. I was texting him last night, asking him what was going on, how they're going to play. He was pretty coy on that, but I can safely say I never thought will be box kicking was going to be one of the answers. Maybe that's just a Gaz Simpson special.
Straight as referee Joe James. So good afternoon to him and his officials. Tony Gader as well. Phil Waters.
I think some of my favourite stuff so far has just been overhearing the ref mic, just Tom Wood, same level of nausery than when he was playing, just shouting at the ref, giving some boys some stick. It's great still that he's still doing it. Let's see how many of the boys are still giving the good vocals when it's sort of 60-70 minutes in.
He's one of those players that is going to have to do something post-playing now, isn't he? Just to keep that sort of competitive, real edge that he has. Nicest chap off the field.
Absolutely.
Absolute competitor on it.
Yeah, I think playing with and against Woody, I've seen the bits that you love about playing him and the bits you absolutely hate as well, that you probably don't necessarily appreciate when you're on the same team. And he's just a constant nuisance in every sense of the word when you're playing against him. And I think a lot of these boys probably won't have actually experienced that the other side of that. The likes of Alex Waller, Mike Haywood, probably getting a good earful. Alex and Tom actually have a woodworking business together, and they spend a lot of their time together outside of the place. But again, I think this is the first time they've actually been, against each other and come into blows. So I'd love to be a fly on the wall and sort of hear some of the more intricate abuse that's going down on that field. If someone's not hammering a coffee table down there, I'm going to be fuming.
Ray Mears of these parts, Tom Wood. Never far from Wood, or something to shape, carve or cut it. Work from Wood. Simpson trying to just get that ball round the back, wasn't he? Morris is right in, is lying all over it. We'll go back to the original fence, which is just a knock on. Tom Wood did well there, and they were very quickly off the mark to try and defend the former Saint. Tom Wood in the Saints Foundation sock. Barker's butts as well.
It's great to see Woody repping the Saints Foundation. He's an ambassador for those guys, and they do some phenomenal work. We actually had a do earlier in the week that was supporting them, and it's good to see him, Lewis Ludlam, James Grayson, all ambassadors for that charity that help sort of the underprivileged kids in the area, and it's brilliant to see him repping it.
Advantage to Northampton here. Smith glides, doesn't he? Speaking of gliding, here's Tom Collins. And Collins is through. Ball back inside. Lovely rugby from Northampton. It's a fabulous try, it really is.
That epitomises what Northampton Saints are about. A good dominant scrum, an advantage, and it means that back line then can go out and try whatever they want to. They've got a free ball. Worst case scenario, comes back for the pen, we kick it to the corner. But Tom Collins, what a runner with the ball he is. He's a forward's worst nightmare, and I imagine he's not really in the dreams of any other opposition backs either, to be fair.
Small man, he covers the ground so quickly. It's Luther Burrell, isn't it, who's been skidded past, and Hutchinson with a 5-pointer. It's the thing of beauty, that try from Northampton. Very trademark sense. Wonder whether the arm wrestle of the opening sort of quarter is over now. Northampton just begin to press the foot on the pedal. 22 minutes into this game.
I think the clincher point here will be how Northampton deal with the restart. The last couple haven't really been smooth and haven't gone well, and they've instantly been on the back foot. And you know, it's an age-old thing in rugby that the points don't really count unless you can then clear cleanly from your own lines on that restart.
Post has got it away for Smith. At the 2 points. Groaning disappointment of the Franklin's Gardens faithful. Cipriani do here. Mike Hayward's down here. Proctor. Dudley. Certainly vocally took command of the situation. Hands didn't follow suit though, unfortunately for him. Stook. Apologise for slightly fruity language you may have heard. Wood. Lovely ball from Cipriani, wasn't it? Flowing stuff here from the Barbarians. Burrell out the back door to Kibirigi. Lightning fast, and so is that ruck ball. Ollie Robinson, the latest runner. Elliott. Cipriani, is that too much outside him? Body back inside by the Barbarians, just knocked on. Keeping their width though, aren't they? The wide man for the Barbarians on both sides, very much keeping their width, which causes problems for the defence.
Yeah, it does. When you've got players that wide, you almost have to defend them, and it stretches out a defensive line, which means that somewhere in there's going to be holes to attack. Because if they stay tight and they try and sort of close on that second last man, the crossfield's on. As you've seen, Danny Cipriani put a couple in there. It's an awkward bounce, but you know, on another day, if that bounces a little bit kinder, that's a try for the Barbarians.
Added to that mix, the footballing ability of Danny Cipriani.
Remarkable amount of scrums so far for a Barbarians game. I'm not complaining, but I'm not sure everyone at home will be thinking the same.
That's an important facet of the game.
It is one of the best things you'll see in rugby union. That.
Look at that. Body positions, the pressure involved, strength, cohesion. Oof. This is all a little unique, isn't it? Waxing lyrical about a scrum in a Barbarians game.
So far, we've had 2 box kicks, and we've had a lot of conversations about scrums. This far, bar the couple of the tries, hasn't been particularly barbars.
Just want a strongly worded letter to Jordan Murphy, shall we? Coach for this week, John Mulverhill, Scott Robinson and Ronan O'Gara involved for the previous games. Waited a long time, the referee, to make that decision. In 2 minds whether to raise the arm the other way for the delayed put-in, but in the end, the knee has gone down for the Barbarians. On this near side,
blood beam reversal.
Brock Harris.
Carol Braley coming back on for Alex Mitchell by the looks of things.
Fresh headband, Callum Braley. Seen his worth already, his sniping ability. No doubt we will see Alex Mitchell later in the piece. 13 substitutions on the Northampton bench. Opportunity for Phil Dowson, Sam Vesty, Matt Ferguson, Ivas. It's Craig just to have a look at these players at this crucial time of the season. Advantage, free hit for Northampton. Smith to Collins, caught it virtually at full tilt. Marley Yard has to come across. And he's running into touch with the ball as well. Who is this side in black and white?
I think that's actually some great cover work from Marlon Yard. He's tracked over by quite some distance, but he was looking for out the back door, but I think he's just almost stumbled over his feet a little bit coming in. A little smile to Luther Burrell there as he walks back.
Good work from Collins as well. Look where Northampton have 55 metres. Smith with a short ball. Nice set play. Collins. Morris goes back. Dragged back over the try line. 5 metre scrum for Northampton. Just beginning to get some oil in the machine, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the pressure's really starting to show. Northampton have worked their way from their own 5 through penalties and discipline in their system all the way up to here. So really good maul on that far side, a chance to attack. Some great play from Tom Collins and Finn Smith to get up to that 22. Another strike play and another opportunity to put some real pressure on 5 metres out. Especially when the scrum's been going really well for Northampton, this will be massive. They'll probably be looking for another go at a penalty and then hopefully have a crack with the backs.
Front rows having a word here. Your brother having a word with the referee.
That's not like him.
It's not like any of you.
No, we wouldn't do anything like that.
Trying to influence the referee by possibly suggesting the way that the other team are scrummaging.
Well, it's like that. You start with the referee and then you give a little eye to the touch judge and say, you know, watch the elbow, watch the binding on the shoulder, and you hope that one of them takes notice. And it's such a finite thing that scrums can be decided on. So you've got to do whatever you can to sort of highlight those points.
Getting some insight to the dark arts. Good scrum. Justice Brady. And it's Scott Young. Smith just pointing, wanting another forward runner. That forward runner is Ludlam. Now there's numbers on the right hand side. Dropped. We're playing advantage to Northampton, looking to take it quickly. Smith, 3 points here, take it.
Imagine. That's the third of the 4 horsemen, isn't it? In the Barbarians game.
Oh, they're trying a Barbarians tap penalty of their own here. Northampton entering into the spirit of things. Barbarians, desperate defence, right on their goal line. And in the end, the holes were so massive. There's London, who finds one of those holes for Northampton's latest try. With a build-up to that try, all the way back from in front of their own 22. That's an exceptional couple of minutes of rugby for your team. That's going to really, really please Phil Dowson.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we're looking for. I think the Saints can be really, really happy with that. The way they've kept the pressure out on their own line and then relieved that by slowly working their way up the field and then being able to come away with a score from the end of it. I think that repeated pressure, Paul Hill nearly going over himself off the tap penalty, but then quick ball followed by quick ball just creates all those holes. And to be honest, you do very well to stop a runner like Lewis Ludlam from that distance anyway. He is ferocious when he carries the ball.
All action. Replacements being made by the Barbarians. See the 2 props wandering off. Callum and Brock Harris. is wandering off as well.
Yeah, in a friendly game like this, I imagine they could probably come back on. And you know, if not, they've got another game later on this evening, haven't they? They got the evening to think about.
Keep it under 50. Immediately charged out by Will Boyd. He's just on the field. John Hines is streaking up from fullback on this right-hand side. Northampton have turned that one over. Scrambling, desperate stuff. On that 5-metre line in the end. Comes to a penalty to Northampton. At the moment, it's that ill discipline, isn't it? And that's the kind of thing that Northampton are going to take advantage of, because ragtag is the wrong word, but players from all over the globe coming together for a few days training in Hyde Park, those are the kind of details that are going to be missing.
Yeah, I think when you use the term discipline, everyone automatically thinks, you know, penalties and foul play, etc. But it's also discipline of being in a structure, and it's hard to have discipline in a structure when there's very little structure to go on in that Barbars outfit. But you know, Saints, I think, are starting to get a hold of how this team's playing and starting to exploit the cracks in that game.
Elliot Miller-Mills and Ben Harris on the front row. Will Boyd, as we've already mentioned, that Barbarians back row. Really nice, wasn't it? Crowd just in front of us here. A smattering of a standing ovation for Tom Wood as he came off. He's down on the bike now, though. Elliot Stukas is off as well. Actually coming on for him, the Welshman. Six or so minutes till half time. 19-7. A fairly un-Barbarians type game for the Barbarians. Fabien Galtier took charge of the Barbarians, didn't he, last year? Called it the French Barbarians. Played a far more structured kind of way to beat England.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when they've had the opportunities in front foot ball, that you can see how dangerous they are and how many gaps they can exploit. But at the moment, it's sort of the mistakes have allowed Saints set piece really into this game, and that's sort of been the clinching point between the two sides at the moment. Like, you look at that scrum was brilliant. And then it's difficult for Barbarians to get front foot ball and do the style of rugby that they want to do. He says.
Kibarigi. Oh, he's put it on the boot. Their ball area just won't be big enough for Zach Kibarigi. And he is lightning quick. We've seen glimpses of that already. And he is that discipline we're talking about. Finn Smith, possibly in his nature, wants to take that 22 dropout, doesn't he? Wants to get involved in the party atmosphere.
But good head on his shoulders and being able to slow it down, get back into the way that we want to play, and ensure that everyone's on the same page, so that when we get this opportunity to defend, we've got a good structured line in front. Great take.
Coming off. Rolling subs. Nicky Elliott is the captain out with Tom Wood off the field. Williams swapping places with Cipriani, and there's Marlin Yard. Certainly not on the same hymn sheet, let alone in the same parish there for Marlin Yard. Ball in hand, he is devastating. Bigger against a little one. Kind of Brayley misses out. Simpson Williams just dabbed it on the boot. Luther Brown on his own club ground, can't get there. Bounce of the rugby ball.
What a kick by Owen Williams. He had a huge amount of pressure on him there and was able to just drop it on his boot and let it sit perfectly. I think it's a really unlucky bounce for Luther Burrell, that.
just the stab of the kick. Just thinking about the way that the ball is going to bounce, just taking all the weight out of it so it doesn't rumble on.
It's a tough skill. You saw Murray McCallum try to do it earlier to slightly less success.
Fabulous footballer. Ryan Williams, 3 caps for Wales.
I thought you were going to say Murray then.
No, he's got 3 caps for Scotland. Wearing Strathallan school socks. Murray McCallum. Had a call from a doctor for an HIA for Callum Brady. Against Newcastle, victory in the cup. He will go off and get himself checked out. So Alex Mitchell back on. Barbarians with this attacking scrum minutes before half time. Certainly for the neutral. Wishing the Barbarians go over here. But an area they're struggling at. Set piece. Footing's not great in a hotel car park to start practicing an 8-man shove.
No, and I think if I'd be very impressed if the Barbars were practicing many, if any, scrums, in all fairness.
Not these kind of scrums anyway.
No, absolutely not. But it's the set piece side of things is something that Northampton pride themselves on, and you can see it sort of. That's been their into this game today when the pressure's really come on. That's how they've been able to go. Having said that, though, the Barbarians have defended Mauls extremely well, and when they've got up alongside things, it's made life difficult for Saints from that point of view.
Wow, absolutely obliterated. Easy for me to say, obliterated that scrum. Northampton were just talking about that power that's come through. That latest dangerous position for the Barbarians. Comes to an end.
Take by Tom Lockett. Outrageously tall man.
Been evident in that line out as Mitchell goes to the skies. What a rip that is from Vince Smith, and he whips that ball away as well. So on that right hand side. Back down this line. Look at the interplay between forwards and backs. Lockett was involved. Just the line out work. Advantage being played. Kibarigi. If it bounces into his arms, he is away. We've got 2 just from the Barbarians. Look at the celebration. Sam Kibarigi up into the stands, snapping his own side. Now they're pretending to do the photographs and all the rest of it. That is brilliant.
That's the kind of stuff you want to see from the Barbars, and largely against the run of play. I think Finn Smith initially ripped that ball, one of the more physical tens you'll see, and it was spun out wide. But then I think, as we spoke about getting sucked into that Barbar style of play, I think Saints probably forced one pass too many, put them under a little bit of pressure. And then when that pass came through, then it was a fumble, and it's an easy one to pounce on there. Kilbrigi, with his speed, is never going to pass up that opportunity.
Maybe too young, but Philippe Contemploi did that for Bristol when he played many years ago, went into the crowd.
Oh, I only remember him playing for Leinster. Might have been just slightly before my time. Got into rugby late.
No, you're just much younger, fresh-faced. Clearly a much easier paper round.
I was 30 now. I'm one of the older. I was one of the oldest in the squad last week. That was a first for me, and that was quite bleak.
It's okay.
I know. You never get younger.
And that was never going anywhere near the sticks for Danny Cipriani and his Barbarian side, but that try from Zach Kibarigi, following on from the try from Gareth Simpson. We put the Barbarians in touching distance here. We've got time to kick off one last time. Cipriani might do a Marcus Smith and kick the ball out here. Gets through a lot of that hard work, doesn't he? One of the juggernauts trying to eat up the millimetres. Hayward. Good footwork into the contact to avoid it initially. Barbarians penalty. Game has certainly grown, hasn't it? Building as the time has gone on.
It's been starting to open up towards these sort of last 20 minutes, but Saints there, 3 men in the breakdown, just a little bit slow to it, and you don't get into that Barbars team without having a huge amount of talent, and a lot of that is the poaching talent, and they've been able to get over that ball pretty quickly. Who was it? Ollie Robinson and Miller Mills, I think.
Yeah, there is Miller Mills in there.
Once you get players like that over the ball, it's a large mass to move from that kind of position.
Elliot Miller Mills. They know the surname. Brother of Harriet and Stanley Red Rose. And the other sister Bridget played for Scotland. Another penalty to the Barbarians. A little high tackle from Northampton, and Jonah Holmes saw the gap in the door close very quickly though. Kitchener. Robinson wasn't held, so gets back up. Still advantage here. There's too many runners that time for Cipriani to pick one out. They knew the penalty was coming though, and an opportunity to get themselves into the 22 here, and then who knows?
Anything could happen with the Barbars. They could get into there. It could be a one-man line-out, could be a five-man, could be a 12-man. I doubt it's going to be a straight maul. There's going to be something coming off it, but
what a kick.
They've done the exact same as Northampton did to them 10 minutes ago. Worn that pressure and just eat their way up the field by keeping ball.
Great, Kitchener played against the Barbarians, captain in England side against the Barbarians. Now the black and white. It's a superb line out forward.
Oh, one of the best I've ever worked with. He is a line out general, king of the skies.
Any other cliches?
I'm trying to think of some more. Air Marshal, there's one.
Check. Oh, they nip round the side. Kibarigi's in for a second. Suck Northampton in, and it's the Barbarians who are finishing this first half on a real high. And you have to say both those Kibarigi tries really against the run of play.
Yeah, I think this one less so. Obviously, they've worked their way up, but he's a dangerous finisher. And just look at this. Luther Burrell comes into the maul, sees that Mitchell's isolated on his own, and it's just a simple 2-on-1. Still a great finish. But now they're in it. It's a 2-point game. See how the kick goes, but after all the pressure that Northampton put on, I think they'll be disappointed that the scoreline is how it is, because they've been largely dominant for big portions of this game. But that's what the Barbarians do. They can just turn it on a whim, very much against that run of play, and create opportunities.
Certainly doing plenty of practice on the celebrations. Cipriani can't add the two, but it is a 2-point game. The King Stadium and Franklin's Gardens. You will expect Northampton and superior fitness and numbers on the bench as well. Could be a very different second half, but at the moment it is beautifully poised, isn't it?
It is, and it's been a good first half. Obviously, there's been maybe a few more set piece scenarios than we were expecting, but there'll still be some really exciting play from both sides. And you see how it was with Harlequins when they played the Barbarians. Very, very similar in scoreline in the first half, and then second half, the fitness told. So hopefully for Northampton, that will be their point of difference come second half. But don't rule out these Barbarians by any stretch, because you've seen that they can create something out of seemingly nothing.
Yeah, 6 tries, 3 apiece here at Franklin's Gardens. It's Northampton 19, Barbarians 17. Welcome back to the King Stadium here at Franklin's Gardens for this unique, historic occasion. Northampton Saints against the Barbarians. They've never met before, but this ground is a home from home for the Barbarians. Many remember the East Midlands games, facing the Barbarians over the years. Memorial match. Bobs ran out of the famous black and white strip in 1911.
Good ball.
That's even before my time. Welford Road. So all the best of representing the Barbarians. They're just finalising another try celebration down here in the Vals. Burrell leading the Barbarians back out. 35-31 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 10-try thriller. Barbarians against New Zealand. 73-28 loss to Harlequins at the Stoop. That 31-30 win at the Rec last week. Damien McKenzie brought his kicky boots. 2-point game here, 19-17. All in the balance. 6 tries in that first half, and hopefully we will see some more in this second 40. Crowd treated here. I have to say, just walking around before the game, plenty of Wasps fans here. Just a shirt or two as well. Great to see those fans enjoying some rugby, not far away, and it's a great place to come and watch rugby, which Ski Sock like seamlessly leads me to Dan Bigger saying this is one of the best places he's ever played rugby. Started with England and then went to the UK and club ground. It really is a special place to play.
It is really like nowhere else. I think I didn't necessarily value it as much until I went away to Worcester and you know, saw another home ground. And whilst the Worcester supporters were fantastic, there's really nowhere like this. Every time you come back here, the atmosphere when the Saints are playing well is truly like nowhere else in the country.
Shell-shocked by this start from the Barbarians in this second half. Nathan Barola's got himself involved a couple of times. You notice him with the black and white shirt, the Northampton socks on. Here fielding the ball as well. He's got Cipriani on his left-hand side. Decides to go to the darkening sky. Franklin's Gardens here. Good strength. Tackle was high. Mitchell trying to get the return ball. Couldn't handle it. Alex Mitchell came on. A couple of spells in that first half for Callum Brayley. HIA assessment, and Alex Mitchell has come back out for this second half.
Looks like we've got a brand new front row too in Manny Yogan, Robbie Smith and Ed Prowse. Ed Prowse, still an academy lad. Huge opportunity for him. He's played a bit of the Prem Cup stuff, but mostly been on loan at Bedford, so watching him go against players of this quality is going to be a big test for him, but one that, you know, having spoken to him, he's been really excited about all week, and I'm excited for him too. Nothing better than a young tight head.
First scrub for those youngsters then. Some kind of result, but Kibarigi setting off again. Looking for a hat-trick is Zach Kibarigi. How do they do that first scrum?
Very well. Manny Yogan's gone up well, and Ed Prowse has gone up his side too. I think he'll be very happy with that, and that's a good nerve settler, because they're probably the first ones that can really catch you out.
George Furbank's coming up, wearing 22, but he'll be playing in the 10 slot. Smith coming off. Another example of what this young man can do now. Off he comes to be wrapped fully in cotton wool. Williams, Burrell, reception committee Augustus and Proctor to meet him. Simpson, Cipriani floats one out again. A couple of occasions when Northampton thought about going for that intercept pass. That defensive line is pressing really, really well for Northampton. That's forcing Danny Cipriani to try and make that pass over the top.
It's clear they've had some conversations at half-time about how to put some pressure on this Barbarians attack, and you could see it in the first few phases there. The line speed from Northampton was brilliant, and it's putting a load of skills under pressure. It's meant that a player like Luther, who's running on those short lines, can't really get as much of a hit of steam up and find those holes. So good start defensively from Northampton, and now a chance for them to attack just outside the 22.
What are the areas all the coaches have been talking about in the sheds at half-time?
I think from watching it from up here, you probably will be having a conversation about the maul attack. Barbarians have obviously defended the mauls really well, so for Saints to get a good platform to release those backs, they've spoken about how they can attack those mauls better. But otherwise, probably just the consistency and sticking to the game plan that Saints are good at, not getting sucked into that Barbars game as we spoke about earlier in the first half.
That discipline of the patterns. Speaking of which, the offloading game is there for Northampton. Barbarian, take your water here. Yoga.
Just creating miles of space on the wing here.
Still trying to use the forwards. And again, Barbarians defence holding firm. Mitchell, Furbank pulls one back. Simple enough for Tom Collins. Special moments. Wingers scoring tries, but against the Barbarians at your home ground. Pop that one on the highlights reel.
Yeah, you can see from the Barbarians there, I don't know who it was, someone shot out of line to try and put pressure on Furbank at 10, and it's just opened up that hole for Collins, who was sat wonderfully behind Furbank, just for that little shoulder ball, acres of space.
Softened the meat nicely, hadn't they, Northampton? Just sucking those Barbarians defenders in. It's a long walk back up now with the Barbarians players just beginning to walk. So a few replacements coming on for them. Canivelli, Fijian, for Hicker, Elliott, and the props back on the starting props. McCallum, Prop Harris as well.
Restart probably would have been another area that they would have spoken about at half-time, given how much change the Barbarians got out of those short balls. But they've decided to go long. Okay.
It's okay. The curse doesn't exclude anyone.
Apparently not.
This one back to the end. Break 14 playing down the left wing. And Mitchell goes high. It's just over the halfway line. He's a South African scrum half, has played some rugby on the wing as well as Northampton. Taken quickly. Mitchell, that one's come off the side of the boot and straight into the arms of Kibirigi. He'll fancy a chance here.
Excellently defended by Matty Proctor on the wing there. That could have been a huge chance for the Barbars to get another breakaway try.
Still with the Barbarians though. Lloyd bobbling around, going backwards, says the referee. But look how far Northampton have pushed the Barbarians back towards that halfway line. Robinson. Simpson again is keeping matters going nicely. A couple of players down injured. I was about to say the referee needs to stop it. There's a head clash. Robinson is one of those players down.
think the other might be Tommy Lockett.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Just a head clash. And that latest breakdown and player safety. Don't need to say it, do we? At the forefront. Certainly Robinson is moving. Good to see. What's Alex Mitchell thinking of there? We're talking about that discipline. You said in the first half, that's not just about giving penalties away. But would he do that against Gloucester?
Well, with Mitch, you never know. But I don't think it was. I don't think that was the intent for the kick. I think he would have seen the space that there was left, because behind Kilbriggy there was a load of space in the backfield. I think the execution of it is just, let's say, come off the side of the boot. But Matt Proctor does exceptionally well to bring him down and also stop that offload, because he had a man in tow on his inside who would have probably seen that score away had the pass been given. So Northampton actually did incredibly well to not just stop it there, but then drive things back through their pressure, through their line speed, and get the Barbarians up to sort of around halfway, where then you've got to look at different ways to put pressure back on opposition, because clearly ball in hand's not working at that stage.
Yeah, the idea was right, wasn't he? Trying to float that ball over the back of Kilbriggy. Wonderful going forwards at Kilbriggy. Different on the turn. I guess this is the danger, isn't it? A rearranged invitational game. Players are desperate to play against the Barbarians at your home club. That's so incredibly rare in itself, but it's the danger, isn't it, for Mr. Dowson at the top of the tree here in Northampton. He doesn't want any players injured.
No, but at the same time, I think you have probably a similar risk if you give players 2 weeks off. It's probably a similar side of things. You need to get players back in, and I think most of the players are have had a half, or obviously the back three's been a little bit different. But Finn Smith obviously came off early. I imagine that was probably a similar plan for Cal Brayley, and Alex Mitchell had Callum not gone off for a HIA. So it's about managing them in the right way as best you can, but no one ever wants to see someone getting injured in one of these games where the spirit of the game is the most important thing, really.
So back at Tom Collins, he only tried this second half so far. Okay. Check that touch. Chatters there coming off. Robinson.
That's what you love to see about games like this. It's just all about enjoying yourself and having a good time with it. And you'll see situations like that where those walk-offs will be considerably less friendly. So a side like that is just something that sums up the good things about rugby to a T.
Cipriani, that's flat at very, very best. Very helpful as well. 23 for the Barbarians. They've not looked after the ball and they've had to come away. Furback. There's plenty of Hutchinson on the pass. Hutchinson just dive on the ball. That's Mitchell. That's a better kick from him. This is bouncing just on the 22. Cipriani in 2 minds. He actually bounces into his arms, and the Barbarians have done very, very well there. And they're all about going forward, of course, but that was excellent rearguard action from the invitational side. New clubhouse, of course. Still existing, surviving, thriving in modern rugby. Without great Mickey Steele Bodger as the soul around the ball. Simpson, let's get this one in. Brown, straight. Oh, he's straight through. It's a great run. James Brown weaving his way to the try line. Mitchell arrives. Penalty, Barbarians, and deserved more.
James Ram doesn't look it, one of the strongest runners you'll see. made of something different, that man. He can break the first tackle so easily. You can see him when he's at full tilt here. He just makes defenders step back and lose what they do. But I don't know who that was that got on ball there, but that is a fantastic turnover. Even with young Robbie Smith in tow, ready to get to that breakdown, he's just beat him to it.
All coaches, plenty of kids playing rugby. The adjoining pitches here on the arrival around lunchtime, and they would have been taught the same thing, was it? Go for the branches, not the trunk. And James Rand has just gone straight through a branch of a tight head prop there, and that is no mean feat.
No, it isn't. I don't think, looking at James Ram, you wouldn't say necessarily that kind of player who's going to be running through, but he's got a bit of it all. He's got a great step, and he's really, really strong runner. He's had a bit of a tough time with injury to start with and a bit of illness, but see him back and playing well is brilliant.
His footballing ability now. Here again, Cipriani, the old banana kick from Cipriani. Get your heart out, Carlos Spencer. Collins again. Weaving, trying to find a chink in the armoury. The black and white armoury. Brilliant for Northampton. Fabulous try. Paulo Sousa. Really, really nice try. And again, it's that man, Tom Collins, has just put it down to the minds of defenders. And once they breach the line, this is easy for Northampton, the skill levels you guys possess.
He's got frightening feet, Tom Collins does, but I think Joanna Augustus also holds himself really well on the wing there. I think he's ready to go full tilt, but then as soon as Tom Collins steps laterally, you see Augustus just take his foot off the gas a little bit to make sure he's behind the ball, and then he's able to get onto it full steam ahead. Sam Graham with some great interplay as well, and then putting Donald Scotian away for that relatively easy score in the end.
He won't score too many easier than that one. Springbok. See why great Chester Williams just spotted him playing sevens. George Furbank, no problem at all with the conversion. Up to 33 now, Northampton. 2 tries in this second half. Williams slotted at 10. Little moments from Danny Cipriani, but it's been a lot more claustrophobic than possibly all of us were expecting.
Yeah, I think that first half especially, but I think it's Northampton starting to hit their stride now. There could be a commentator's curse again. No, we're good. Northampton are starting to hit their strides now. There it is.
That one is knocked on.
Northampton aren't starting to hit their strides. No, I think it has been a positive start, and you've seen sort of that open field play be just that little bit more controlled and disciplined, like we've spoken about, not falling into the traps of playing too much. And when Northampton Saints have played, they've been really accurate with how they've executed things, which has led to those two second half scores. Sorry.
Front row on for Northampton. Tom Wood is digging the ball out. Williams. Simpson gets the return ball. Burrell whacked on the brakes, and rightly so. Here's Tom Wood again. That's the 22-metre line. It's a pint of beer for a script writer of Tom Wood scores here. Very vocal about the situation at Worcester, very honest. The Scottish prop. Simpson, Williams. It's Matador-like, isn't he? Just had that flat line. Here he is again. Offering something slightly different to Cipriani. The Barbarians building here. There are plenty of numbers on his left-hand side, and he's looking to build again. Kitchener. Northampton. Putting anyone into those breakdowns. High hard. Two South Africans battling it out on his left-hand side. Paul Carriage found himself in a little bit of space. Luther Burrell trying to keep that ball in, and in doing so, he's gifted the ball back to Northampton. Alex Mitchell just takes his time. And Alex Moon is there, just to set up a better angle here for Alex Mitchell, who'll use that right peg. So finally tucks the Kibberigi further. Good chase from him, the England international. His numbers down his left-hand side. Burrell. One way or the other. Hard back to Burrell. That's a dream. Luther Burrell, the former Saint, playing here at Franklin's Gardens in the famous black and white, scores a try.
If there's anyone in this stadium happier at this point in time than that man, he will be absolutely loving that. Good play from him to identify that space on the short side. He obviously had options inside and out, but held his pass just at the right point to give to Hugard. And then it's a simple 2-on-1 going in from there.
Great moment.
No try celebration though, just a wave of the crowd. It's a shame. There's been some really good ones so far. I was looking forward to another one of those.
It was lovely though, wasn't it? High hard, just down this right-hand side, left-hand side I should say. Just knowing what today meant to Luther Burrell. He's so excited this week. And Tom Wood gives a return ball to Luther Burrell. It's the adulation of the crowd. We'll forgive him milking it.
Oh yeah.
Today
if ever there was an opportunity to do it, today's the day.
Today is the day, as Williams. As well, it's not out of sight yet.
It's great to see Owen Williams back playing as well. He was really unlucky with injury at Worcester, but when he did play, he was a real driving force for us from a competitive point of view. And I know that even though these games are obviously really good spirited and good natured, he'll be gunning for a win.
Right, shot window, isn't it, for some of these Worcester players and the Wasp players. Straight through the arms and straight for Tom Collins. His second of the half, and just as the Barbarians pull themselves back into this game, a mistake.
Well, it's like we said in the first half, isn't it? Once you score points, you've also got to. Those points don't really count until you exit cleanly, because that's the kind of thing that can happen. You can switch off, think you're comfortable because you've just scored points, and then immediately let a team back into the game and sort of discount all the hard work you've just done.
And that's one of those moments, isn't it? That happens to Northampton. There's a man behind that in case that happens with the Barbarians. It's the formation of glasses and shooters rather than who's protecting the restart catcher.
Yeah, and I mean, in the short time they're together, there's only a finite amount you can cover. There's other more important things than the restart, but I'll be disappointed with that, especially considering how hard they worked to get that score in the first place.
Yeah, the effort took to get the try for the Barbarians compared to the effort taken there by Tom Collins and Northampton. James Ram coming off. Benches being unloaded now.
Great take from Carl Wilkins there. His first game back from injury this year as well. Sadly injured his knee during pre-season, so another massively physical player. It's good to see him back on the rugby field.
He's in Northampton. To France to play some rugby over there. Background, as you say, back from injury. Customary mullet. Let's pop into the final quarter of this game. It's been little peaks, hasn't it, in this game, but sort of constant excitement we were possibly expecting. The Barbarians here keen to just let Northampton run away with it and filled out and outs this side. I mean, outside of certain people standing very closely, probably shouldn't have been any stronger. That's a given.
No, and it's been, I think, the way that the Northampton have played has been obviously very positive for them, and how things are going to be, like you say, a big month coming up for Northampton, but it's hard to play an unstructured game against that style of play.
It's almost lose-lose, isn't it? Williams, high steps back inside, and the South African scrum half slash winger is dragging the Barbarians back into it again. They refuse to go away, the Barbarians. We're treated to another try, Celeb here. Notice that big old hug, is it? That's the old photo shoot. Let's bring some of those into the Premiership.
High risk, high reward, that really, isn't it? I mean, it could be great crack at the time, but if you do it and then you end up losing the game, it's suddenly not so funny anymore.
What Premiership coaches will make of that if you did start throwing that in?
Might be your last game.
Yeah. Always come play for the Barbarians. Gareth Simpson goes off. Had a good afternoon. Scrum half has been busy, industrious. So Williams lines this one up. Taking his time. Need to in the end. Just the sat nav right. (38-29) then. Just over 15 or so minutes left in this one. Uniquely historic day. First time these two have ever met. And the Barbarians just beginning to get a bit of a ascendancy at the breakdown there.
Yeah, it comes off a real dominant shot, actually. I thought some really good carries, and you could see that Angus Scott-Young was coming onto that with a lot of pace, but he's met by two big men, and it just gives a really easy into the ball because his supporting players were just nowhere near him.
They have to build here. A slow trudge for the Barbarians, isn't it? The walk down to breakfast. Looks like Gareth Simpson's coming back on. Yeah, Williams did look to be gingerly walking back after that conversion attempt. Dennis Cipriani is below us. I think Elliott. Scrum half or fly half, Gareth Simpson. So No loss there. Knock on for the Barbarians.
Look at the white front row down.
Just need to tie it up
Number
in that
one.
area.
One white.
The opportunity is there, isn't it?
They're extremely close, and I think it's been really exciting how they can just create something out of seemingly nothing. But you know, when it descends into this set piece game, it's pretty obvious that Northampton have the ascendancy there. So if the Barbarians want to win this, they've got to try and keep that tempo high. Admittedly, easier said than done on the back of 2 or 3 weeks together, having some good times.
Delgado joins Luca Borelli, Barbarians midfield. George Hendy is on for Northampton as well. All of these substitutions, it's a challenge today. So many people on the bench, players without numbers. Well, playing advantage here. Alex Mitchell gets scragged. An opportunity just for Northampton, just from their 22, just to take play out towards that halfway line and set something again. Go to another week's training, of course, ahead of that Gloucester game. Want to finish brightly here.
Yeah, I think you can see that from how quick Furbank took that kick, that they want to keep the tempo high. They've clearly seen that the Barbarians are starting to tire here, and something that Northampton pride themselves on is being able to stick in it for that full 80.
Furbank has felt that one. Calivane, the Fijian.
It's a big shot. You want to be on the receiving end of that. But fair play to George Furbank. He's got straight back up and is getting on with the job.
What kind of character is George Furbank like? Was it plenty of rugby at 15, rugby at 10, or just for club but country as well?
It's been really interesting actually, because when I left, George was in the academy still and hadn't really had many first team games, if any, at that point, I think. And coming back, he's a fully fledged England international. He can play at fly half, he can play at fullback, but he's just an extremely skillful player. And I think a lot of it for players of his age when I left is just opportunity. And if you can come into these environments and express your skill set and express what you're like as a player without making mistakes, that's when you'll get the more chances to do so. And he's a player that rarely makes mistakes generally, and he's taken every opportunity he's been given. So another one I think is extremely unlucky to not be involved in the England squad, the match day 23 as regularly.
Versatility, of course, certainly helped. Certainly the side that Eddie Jones was looking at, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think especially going into the World Cup with the HIA rules changing, as they rightly should, to sort of that 12-day recovery, they're going to need a lot of players who can be versatile. So I think that's the strength of Furbanks. We'll see him hopefully in good stead and give him an opportunity to get into that World Cup squad, all things going well.
Zeb Prowse who's down. The academy re-signed.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Ed Prowse since he's come on. I think he's scrummed really well. He's obviously an exciting young prospect, and he's been going well in the Championship for Bedford. And they're a very similar style to how we play here, so it's a fairly seamless slot in either end. But he's been very good since he's come on the pitch. Not that it's out of place whatsoever.
Strategic partnership with Mike Rare's side of Bedford. How bad's that moment when you've got the trench coat on, the big sub jacket on, think your afternoon's done, possibly just having a cup of tea on the sideline, and your replacement goes down?
Well, it's a tie between that or being on the bench, and then the person you're on the bench for comes off within 2 minutes. They're similar. You gear yourself up for the different kind of games you're playing. But yeah, I mean, Paul Hill, very interesting character, very rarely switches off. So I imagine that he'll slot straight back into this, no dramas.
So he's fully on the whole time, perfect. Durable character, isn't he? So he's dalliances with the national team as well.
One of the more interesting men in rugby, Paul Hill. Not a single story I can say on air, but which is one of the most interesting men you'll ever meet.
And we will leave it there, draw a discreet veil over the rest of that conversation. Looks like Northampton want to bring the man down. Penalty to the Marlin Yard is calling for it. Little chip through. Kibarigi was after it. That one's bouncing into touch. He'll come back for the penalty. 38-29. Just remind you of the score. Coming up to the last 10 minutes of this game. They've beaten Bath already, the Barbarians, in this little autumn series they've got going. And they go to the corner here again. What trick play might we see here?
I think last time they were in this position, their maul actually went really well, and it gave them the opportunity to exploit that blind side with the centres joining it. So my money would be on another maul by the looks of things.
Set the front row.
Watch them launch it out wide now.
The crystal ball is in fine fettle. Crabbing towards the middle of the park. Just sheared off on that right hand side. They're spinning round and they're scoring as well. That's fabulous for the Barbarians. This game is not done by a long shot. There's Tavita Canivere, who's got the touchdown. That's really, really well marshalled. Body positions are right. Went down the left-hand side. Northampton defend there. Go around the other side.
I think you can see when the backs join that maul, they join it in really intelligent positions and sort of they create that swing to the blind side, and it almost takes out the majority of those Northampton defenders on the right, and it just leaves a big hole for them to then go through and score there.
Takes his time, Simpson. Remains a 4-point game. 38-34. It's almost like a game of sevens in terms of how important these restarts are.
It's a much better take.
Morris is back on. Revolving door of substitutions for the Barbarians. Possible conversation, Jordan Murphy, how do we feel there? So if you're going to play with 400 players, you want to have rolling subs. Mitchell, Furbank. Out.
It's a shame. It's a great line by Joel Matavesi there. Exploits the hole between defenders, and he's been given passes like that in the cup for the first half of this year, the majority of which have come off. So it's a shame that one doesn't, because if it goes to hand for Skosson there, he's in a lot of space, and he is one of the quickest men in the Premiership.
Bred in Cornwall, the Matavesis. Early rugby at Canberra. Can you ever trial, didn't he? He's impressed. Signed permanently now. Millermounts. Place on tight hand for the Barbarians. Hard is in it. Scrum half now. Burrell looking around. I'm sure he was expecting a Marlin Yard. Got man out ball. Certainly different approach in each second half to the breakdown. Northampton leaving alone unless there's an absolute chance. So one man in there. Northampton just staying away, knowing the dangers that the Barbarians possess. Barbarians have got that one on.
14 white on.
Really good example of staying in the discipline, especially in the defensive system. There you've seen players not necessarily going in for turnovers or jackal threats there when it's not been on, just keeping numbers on feet, putting pressure on and forcing the Barbarians to make a mistake, because they know realistically that they're chasing the game and they're going to try and have ball in hand as much as possible. So really intelligent play from Northampton and some fantastic line speed.
You see Owen Williams come back on. The injury's not severe as possibly we first thought. It's Kibarigi who's come off. It's a nice conversation with Jordan Murphy down there, the Barbarians coach. It's got to be up there with one of the easiest gigs going, isn't it? Barbarians coach.
You'd have some fun with it, wouldn't you? Without a shadow of a doubt. Team
handshake, team songs. It's first on the list to do.
Basically high-end social sec. Great hands.
Fabulous hands for Northampton down that left-hand side yet again. And he's had a wonderful afternoon. Tom Collins. His hat-trick score against the Barbarians. He's scored some wonderful tries, some important tries for Northampton. He will remember these three so far for the rest of his days.
Just over 5 minutes to go. They wouldn't count the Barbarians out of this by any stretch. We've seen how easily they can score against the run of play, and how it went down to the wire against Bath. Northampton will have to receive this kick-off pretty cleanly and exit and sort of make Barbarians try and play out their own half.
Grandstand finish. Danny Cipriani's got on the microphone. I was just about to mention the crowd who've broken into the familiar song around these parts. First time we've heard it, there's been a nervousness, but the time on the clock and on the scoreboard. Great big smile on Danny Cipriani's face. Really great to see. Enjoying his rugby. That's what he's always only ever wanted to do, is enjoy his rugby. Feels he still has got something to give back to the game. Doesn't want to hang up the boots just yet. This man certainly is in a competitive game, he said this week. A highly competitive game anyway. Said he played for the England legends against the Ireland, a little presumptuous. But,
well, I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it'll be him. I'm not sure there'll be many gentlemen's agreements going on in that game, however, especially if Woody's involved.
What a way to sign off for Tom Wood. Burrell off to Japan, of course, and he's sniffing around, isn't he, Burrell? Those intercept passes. So Northampton are trying to get around on the outside. One on the ground. Williams. Garno still with the Barbarians though, down that right hand side. Somebody needs to gather this for Northampton. They've scored, the Barbarians. Not for the first time today. That bobbling ball around in the empty goal area hasn't been dealt with well by Northampton. The Barbarians pounce.
Gareth Simpson again. Loves getting on the end of those.
Doesn't he just? Great placement from the referee as well. 45-39, conversion still to come.
2.5 minutes to go.
Oof.
Like we said, don't discount the Barbarians.
This was in the script. He was unable to make it a full 7-pointer. 6 points the difference. Luther Brown comes up. Huge applause. Luther Brown. Blacks him out on the field. He's showing action off the field as well. It's working. Midfield has been excellent this afternoon for Luther Burrell. Seventh try for the Barbarians, both on 7. Williams. Let's see what he was trying to do. It was Miller Mills who was a little short line. Ball back for Northampton though, and Robbie Smith. Mitchell was bobbling around. Kibarigi. Wood is waiting on this short side. Look at that defensive line for Northampton. They just straight offside again. Marlin Yard. Haven't seen too much of him. Certainly in open spaces anyway. Wood comes in at scrum half. The Barbarians need to keep that ball in hand, but there's a lot of people sucking a lot of oxygen out there in black and white shirts at the moment.
Yeah, you can see Northampton as well. They know that Barbarians have got to play from their own half. They've got to keep ball if they want to win this. So wingers were both up, huge pressure, huge amount of people in that front line, and seemingly not a lot of space, which puts the Barbarians in a position where they have to kick to get some sort of territory.
Sonwood comes off one final time here at Franklin's Gardens. Premiership winner, Heineken Cup finalist, 12 seasons, 240 appearances as Franklin's Gardens has won. Stand and clap, one of the true greats of this club. Thank you, Tom Wood, for your service.
One of the best players Northampton's ever seen, one of the best people off field as well. Helped lead this club for a number of years. And
it's dark times as well.
Correct, and it's so good to see him get the send-off that he really deserves. I know that he's a man of few emotions, but he'll be massively happy with being able to see off his career here.
Tom Wood going off signals the end of the game. And it ends the Barbarians just 6 points shy in the end. 7.
It's been really good to see the style of rugby that, you know, when it did open up and the Barbarians got a chance to play, and the same with Northampton. You saw some really free-flowing, impressive styles of rugby. I think from a Northampton point of view, probably is a good tester going into these next few months with the quality was out there, and it's probably summed up the work-ons in keeping consistently to system throughout the 80 minutes, because, you know, you've seen the tries that were scored from Barbarians, a lot of them against the run of play, so that'll be a work on for them going forward. But overall, good day, something that really epitomised the spirit of rugby. You see all the smiles on everyone's faces after a half-fought day.
I just want to pick up on that Northampton point. You're going into a really big month of games. You've spoken about the Champions Cup games, La Rochelle, Munster, Gloucester up next, of course. But that was almost like a perfect game for them to prepare. It wasn't the Barbarians throwing around and driving balls in there. It was box kicks to touch. That was a much tougher encounter, I suspect, than you would have expected from the Barbarians.
Yeah, there were some huge elements in it, and I think it's a really positive because it gives us an opportunity to look at what we need to work on going into the Gloucester game next week, which is obviously a massive focus for us. And credit to the Barbars, like you said, those defending those balls, they were really efficient. They never went away, and it's highlighted a few areas that we've done really, really well. Like those tries that we scored when we keep ball sticking system, we were really impressive. But it's also highlighted some things that we can definitely get better at. So positive day all round.
It's brilliant of the Barbarians to step up just when rugby needed it. With the demise of Wasps and Worcester, the Barbarians have come calling to rugby, inject some black and white positivity into it, and over 14,500 King Stadium here at Franklin's Gardens have thoroughly enjoyed it. I, Johnny Hammond, have thoroughly enjoyed being in your company. Ethan Waller. It's Northampton who beat the Barbarians the first time they've ever met. Historic day belongs to Northampton. Final score at the Gardens, Northampton 45, the Barbarians 39.